The reality is the angles, it doesn't matter which angle we take. We are looking for a high ground on a wide angle that has a corner. Hey, what's up guys? Today we're taking a look at a platinum Kiriko VOD review, and this one I'm really excited to show you. We talked a ton about position and really focused on different angles and where to play, and really overall how to maximize Kiri's kit. So if you're looking to take your Kiri game to the next level, this is the one. Let's go. That effectively Kiri is the most counterintuitive positioning pick in the game right now. Her positioning is kind of difficult, but also makes sense. And you're already doing this is where that GM automatically serves you well. I love what you did, chat. Pay attention. So this is a plat support player, but a GM DPS player. Look at what they immediately do. Instead of walking point, immediately Toast finds a high ground. Looks for high ground, employs that wall climb of Kiri. Kiri can wall climb. You should be wall climbing all the time. The floor is lava big time on Kiriko. I love that we found high ground right away. It's awesome. We're gonna look to apply damage. Good. Excellent. Look at, see, we play high ground, we find a corner. Immediately, we're looking to threat safe. We're looking to play off that corner. That's excellent. So we're always looking to do. Very good start. We're gonna get some poke damage in. Now we're gonna help our team support the point, okay? We talked about this before on Kiriko, right? Where we have two primary modes, okay? This is the simplest way I found to break it down for positional makes sense. This is a cute little whiteboard. I gotta remember the spots here. But all right, so we have two ways to break it down, right? When you're playing Kiriko, you effectively have two separate modes. That's a bad color for that, isn't it? You have two modes on Kiriko. We've talked about it before. We'll do it again. So your first mode, right? Your first mode, what we're gonna do is we're gonna call this transitioning. Okay, so when we're transitioning, basically all that means is, and this is our team. Our team is either taking space, right? We're actively attempting to take space from our opponents, or we are giving space. We are actively giving space, so we're kiting while our opponents are taking space against us. Okay, while we're transitioning, all of this mode goes into a play style that we call direct support. So we're going to use primarily our support resources. When we're playing direct support position looks something like this. Direct support is more standard support positioning. So we'll call this normal positioning. So we would play like a support, right? We're going to play back and above if we can, behind our team in some cases, in most cases. Behind our team, we're going to seek to weaponize our support resources to help them take space or give space, right? So we're going to call it support positioning, right? There are instances where we can play like kind of in the middle and support them, but we want to kind of pre-rotate our team the same way we would on any support, so we can help support them all the way out or all the way in. Okay. Then our second form, transitioning, right, is what we call holding space. So this is when we're not in transition. We have the space we want and we're simply holding the space. A good example is when we're on defense, right, and we're holding a point. The way I usually refer to this one, and you'll hear some of my Kiriko players say this before. This is a Rapier Man. Well, I'm sure we'll have something to say. Even high, wide, and handsome, but high and wide. So high and wide is the nature of what we're looking for on holding space. Because of Kiriko's insane mobility, because of Kiriko's ability to commit and change where she is in the fight immediately with TP through walls, and she can ignore all of that, we can take really, really aggressive positions to decentralize enemy resources, and also to put ourselves in a really strong position to both support our team and apply damage while subsequently decentralizing enemy resources, right? So they have to either shoot us or shoot our team, but not both. So we're looking for really high ground angles like we saw Toast take here, right? And we're looking for really wide angles as well. So push is kind of difficult because we're always, most of the time, I guess on ladder in particular, we're most of the time always kind of seeking to be in that transitional space. But regardless, we want these high wide angles. These high and wide angles should be our default on Kiriko. So there are instances, and this is relevant, there are instances when, for example, again, I use the color that's not great, where we can be transitioning and still maintain high and wide space as long as we can apply our support resources to continue to help our team as they take or give space. But those high wide angles that almost seem counterintuitive, right? They almost seem ridiculous because you're gonna be so far forward. In some cases will feel ridiculous to you, especially as a support player or even as a DPS player. You're gonna play Kiriko from more aggressive high and wide angles, if that makes sense, than you would even like sometimes like a tracer, and you're gonna stay there for longer This is the counterintuitive part, is when you're playing these high wide angles, often I like to do this at least 90 degrees, 90 degrees kind of perpendicular, or 90 degrees perpendicular to tank. But really in general, when we can, I really like to think of it as 90 to 180 degrees, and then we'll say adjacent to tank, right? So this is one of those weirdo kind of examples. So you have these two modes. I'll go through this in a minute when I actually pull up the map again, but you have these two modes all the time. We have transitioning and holding space. As the game progresses, right, we're going to have certain instances where after we win a fight and we're just kind of walking, right, well, I win a fight, we're going to kind of transition to holding space. As the fight develops, and we're either going to take or give space, we'll transition more into that transitioning mode, or that direct support mode. But regardless, we're always kind of in between these two, and we're going to default whenever possible to this one on Kiriko because of this, because of that high, wide, and handsome, baby. That's what we're doing. So okay, so there's our little note sheet. Sorry if I wrote over my face for a sec, but let's go through and talk about that and show what those high and wide angles look like on kind of in game. And Toast, I'm kind of turning this VOD into more of like a Kiriko macro because I think it's really relevant. So let's say our team is gonna fight here, right? So when we're gonna fight on this space, right, for the robot, I would challenge you, chat, and I would say, you know, what are we, right? Let's go more over here, right? Let's back up more. Okay, this is a better angle. So let's say, for example, that we're gonna fight in this spot to try to get first control, and we're gonna say both of the teams, just for an example, this is all hypothetical, we're gonna say both teams are gonna fight right here. Again, we switch back to the bad color, sorry. But we'll say both teams are going to fight on the bot, right? We're going to be like brawl v brawl on the bot. Okay. So this is actually a really strong example. What would be a really good example of a place where we can apply direct support? Well, I think that playing somewhere like, honestly, here, right? Like playing this corner, we have this linear lane. We can support our team. We can do damage, right? We have this if we need to. This would be a really strong example of someone to play support. We could also play, I believe this is a door, or one of these is a door. We could also play like in here on this corner to support this space, right? Whatever it is, but that's that direct support. This is our side. We'll say the right side of the screen is kind of our side. The left side's their side off spawn. You get it, right? But we kind of can play these angles, right? Well, I would ask you, chat, are we right now, what are we doing? Are we taking space or are we holding space? What do you think? This is kind of where it gets tough. We're trying to take space, right? So we are about to try to take space, right? So we're trying to take space so we can directly support our team. But if the fight is happening here, what do we need to do before we take the space? See, this is where it gets counterintuitive, chat. We need to hold this space first. We can't just take space, right? Because when we try to take space, right, we're going to try to do that, but we're going to be in a big fight. Again, we're assuming we're in this big fight right in this kill box, right in this square. So once we hold the space, we establish we win the fight, then we're going to take space on bot. Right? So let's say that their whole team, again, is somewhere like this. We'll say, whoa. Sorry, guys. Yes, that's their team. Right? We'll say their team is somewhere like here. Right? Right? So they have someone, I don't know, they have someone doing something cute, playing on high ground, something over here. Right? And then we have our team will be blue. Right? We're doing that same shit. Right? We're over here. Someone's all west over here, right? And we're back up here as discussed, right? So this might look kind of like a standard setup, right? Everyone's kind of applying resources to get control of this space. Okay. Here's where I want you to play Kiriko. This feels like the normal position, right? This feels like where you would play any sport. If I was playing Honor or something, this would be a great angle, right? Right in there. However, on Kiriko, this is a fallacy. I don't want you to play here. On Kiriko, I want you to play over here. I know they're there now, but pretend they're not. Does that feel weird? Right, so we talk about 180 degrees adjacent to our tank, okay? Let's say this is our tank, this guy, right? So here's our tank, here's our team, okay? We're way over here, we're way out in front of our tank. We're so far in front of our tank, we're behind them, okay? So when we're playing over here, a waffle, thank you for the follow. Going on the tower, taking shots to the back line, assassin style over here, that's fine too. I like it. I would look, again, we're looking for those high and wides though, right? High and wide. high and wide angles here. I think this corner is fine. I think that this upper corner here, I'd rather have you on this bridge and pretend they're not there for now, right? So here's what we're doing, right? So by doing this, right, all of our team is shooting here, right? Everyone's kind of in the fight shooting. We can apply pressure from this back line here, right? And now what do they have to do? They have to either apply pressure to us directly in the front line here, right? Like where they're shooting. But look, it stops them being able to do that. They can no longer see, they can no longer directly apply pressure to us this way. Why? Because if they just continue to shoot like that, you're free back here. You go nuts. All you do is unleash spam into them. They can't do anything. So in order to do something about you, because they won't let you live up here, right? You're just gonna spam them and go ham, right? And you can occasionally still throw healing of food to support your team, right? If they peek, if they, you know, they start to breach this corner and stuff like that, right? But so what do they have to do? Well, let's say they have to do something like this. They have to remove those two lines of pressure. And now those guys come over here and they start to shoot you. Well, now look what we've done. All of us on our team, we are gonna use the big dot here. All of us on our team are shooting here, right? And look, all of them on their team, they're shooting here kinda, but they're also shooting here now on us. Look at where the resources are focused. Let's erase the lines we drew. Let's erase everything, right? Oop, we got rid of the dot by accident. We'll get that in a sec. But this is what it looked like when we were doing that. Look at the resource focus, right? Look how much we split their resources by doing this, by existing over here, right? And we can play this angle. This is the same thing we do if we were playing Tracer. The same thing if we're playing Pharah. The same thing if we're playing any flanker, right? We're playing in different lanes, right? This is the PTA meeting again. You are exactly right, okay? Now, if they dedicate resources to us back here, right? It's okay. It's okay, right? That's what we want. We want them to use some of their resources back here because we have the funny button. We just say, oh, okay, you know what? You're dedicating resources back there. This position is no longer tenable for me. I can't stay here. Okay. We TP out. And what did we do? We got them to turn their resources away from the primary fight. So the resources they used on us, which attention, uptime, bullets, those are resources for a minute, right? We're playing corners. Like if we make them turn and come get us, that means that our team should have had an advantage because of our resource centralization. This concept we talk about a lot in this channel. It's called resource decentralization. You can do it the best on Kiriko, debatably better than anyone else in the game. It's why she's so broken. Not to mention you have busted cooldowns between TP and Suzu. But these kind of positions are what you're looking for when you're holding space, okay? If your team is taking space, it becomes different, right? Because these positions are going to have to be adjusted all the time. But you can effectively really impact fights that occur in a static location. Again, this fight's happening supposedly in this kind of kill box here, in this static fight by simply playing up here. So this is the nature of how Kiriko should position. You can take really aggressive positions simply because if you get in trouble, you just TP back. So the question naturally becomes, right? Well, how aggressive can I get? How far away can the positions be for my team? If we can TP out, you TP out. If we can't TP out, right? If we're too far to TP, then we're inting. So we need to make sure we're aware of where our teammates are. That we can make sure we can TP. But you guys got it exactly, 35 meters. So does this macro make sense on Kiriko? This is the short breakdown of Kiriko positions. These positions are that position 2, that holding space, right? That holding space concept that we love to call. Ooh. This is our high and wide, baby. These are magic words. High, wide angles on Kiriko for holding space. Am I making sense to everybody? Let Kobe cook. Yeah. Thanks. Cool. What about when they prince around the tower early? So I want you not necessarily to think about it on this map specifically, Ronan, right? When they kind of push on the tower early, right? And if they push on there, then I don't want you to think about this exact situation. I want you to think of it as a general sense overall, right? Where we're kind of 180 degrees, at least 90 or more degrees out in front of our tank or away from the general fight. We want to be in a position that fully decentralizes their resources, right? So we could illustrate this again, right? Where if like we do something and we say, this is the, sorry, we can say like this is their tank, this is their team, right? And we're over here playing like this corner, and our team is in that same spot, like still like our team is still fighting like here, whatever it is, right? Like we can still like exist off these cute like side angles here, right? But the reason we want to take more aggressive like 180-degree angles, right, is because we want to fully decentralize their resources. The difference is how far they have to turn to shoot us. They can shoot here, they can turn 90 degrees. No. I want them to have to turn a full, I want them to put their back to the rest of your team. I want them, when possible, to have to turn as far as they can, and you can't always get a perfect 180 degrees, right? But we want them to turn all the way around. We want to open the angle, again, widen the angle high and wide as much as possible to decentralize their resources. But if they were to swing around let's examine that in a vacuum. If they were to swing around the tower, like say their team was like path like this, right? Like I saw that the question being asked. If that happens, right? If they were to kind of path around there, then we can do the same thing. The same thing exists, right? Then obviously we can't, there's no crazy high grounds that we can get here. Hey, Serious Goose, thank you for the follow. There's no high grounds we can get on this side, but if that happens again, right? And we just flip this, right? Same schniz, right? Same exact stuff going down, right? So if their team says, you know what, we're going to come fight over here, and we're going to like fight in like this courtyard space, right? Like happens quite a bit, actually. Right, this is going to be their team, we'll say. They have someone on high ground up there, right? So if they're going to fight like there, right? And then our team is going to meet them. We're going to have this fight right here. We're going to poke, right? We'll have our high ground somewhere up here, maybe. You could be over here. Right? Over here puts you back in that they don't have to, you're not decentralizing resources at all because they can shoot that same angle. So you got to be outside this angle. So this is where, if it happens, you can come over here. You can come over here. If you can get all the way over here behind them, although these guys are right here, so that's a little more risky, right? But I think playing over here is just fine too. If they're like in a brawl and all 5 of them are on low ground, like take an aggressive as an angle, as aggressive an angle as you can. So if they're playing like, you know, somewhere down here, like a death ball type comp, right? And then we can, like, we think we can get this high ground. Hell yeah. Sneak around, you know, come all the way over here, play this corner, same thing. Now we've achieved the same exact thing, right? We have like this same 180 degree away from our tank. We're shooting here, they're shooting here, and they have to turn all the way around to shoot us. It's the same thing. All right, and this is like a big circle point, but the concept is applicable anywhere. I don't want you to think of it just on this map. I want you to apply it to kind of any larger engagement in general. Cool. Am I wrong? This also takes away their awareness of the main fight. Yeah, it's exactly right. That's exactly what we're trying to do. Take away their attention, awareness, however you want to say it. Kobe, you should host Goats Pugs. Yeah, that'd be something. What about the left side of them in the corridor? Sure. All of these funny angles we can play. We can play up here, right on the bridge. We could like on this side we could have snuck far right. Right? We could play over here. Could have snuck all the way around over here, play here. Right? As long as we can get to the fight fast enough to actually have an impact in the fight. I don't care where we play per se. It matters where we play as long as they're not stacked on this bridge, right? We obviously don't want to like, take direct challenges from like this distance. But the reality is the angles, it doesn't matter which angle we take. We are looking for a high ground on a wide angle that has a corner for us to peek, just like we saw Toast do right at the very front of this thing. We want natural cover to get away, and we want to be able to TP out to safety. We are perfectly safe the whole time. We have a bunch of funny angles we can take on this map in particular. When slowing down tempo retreating, shouldn't you hold tighter angles so they're forced to peek headshot spam corners? So when we are retreating, we are no longer in our holding space, right? When we make your team want to flame you in chat. not necessarily incorrect. But so when we're retreating, when we're retreating, we're not in this holding space method, right? We're not in an established like fight in a centralized location. We are then transitioning, which means these positions become far less tenable. Why? Because if we retreat out of our TP range, our team retreats out of our TP range, right? Or for example, they can just choose to ignore us and walk on our team, give our team a 4v, you know, a 4v5 in some situations. That's what we don't want. So we always need to be in between holding space, taking space, holding space, transitioning, holding space, giving space, whatever it is, right? So when we're transitioning, we want to play more standard, to your point, Butler, play more standard kind of support mentality, more standard support lanes, if you will, that we can apply our support resources primarily to our team to help them transition. Once we reestablish and we're going to take a fight, once we're going to take that fight in that location, we're going to hold this space. We're going to say, nope, stop. We're going to hold this space that we have. You're going to go try to take one of your funny angles, right? One of your, as Goldfish Toast put it, I don't know what our Kiriko is doing, right? You know, like they're go take one of those angles, right? And then, you know, hopefully decentralize theirs, win the fight, and then we're back to transitioning. And so when we're taking space again, right, we're going to kind of seek to take space from our team, or we can, if we can predict where the next fight's going to happen, we can pre-rotate to be able to impact that fight, so on and so forth. Does this still apply when your other support has slow or low healing output like a Zen? So the answer to that is yes, but I love that you're asking that question because your brain is in the right place, right? So the answer is yes, right? But in situations like that where you're making adjustments in real time and you're noticing, hey, we are really struggling to make healing output, maybe we take a slightly less aggressive angle. We don't take an angle that's as wide for us to do damage. We take an angle that makes sure we can maximize our healing uptime for our team as well. It's why things like Kiriko Zen, they're good, but they're, you know, it's maybe not amazing. So I think that, you know, we always want to kind of be aware of the situation that your team's in, and then you can kind of close the angle a bit, or maybe not play the full 180, play like, you know, play like 100 degrees, something like that. Look for those positions where you can, and try to lend your support resources to help supplement the lack of healing from the other support. Excellent question. So like, this is a very good position. This is what I'm talking about. Yep. Because of that. Huge. She had no idea you were there. You just hit the 2 dinks. This was, yeah, like, I don't know why we dropped. We didn't need to. I feel like we were like, job's done. Like Hearthstone, but the reality is, yeah, we can support our team. Good. Good, Suze. Yeah, apply pressure. Being aware of our right. Good. Yep, that cooldown we need to be, we can't really challenge till that cooldown's gone. Now we can go get him. Go get him. He's ours. Come here. Come here. He's got the health pack. Oh, he didn't. Oh, no, he tossed. Okay. Well done, though. That headshot would have killed him anyway. Yeah, so here's a good example where we can look. Yeah, it's like too late. Oh, we got killed for it. Yeah. So the floor is lava for you, Toast. This is one of those examples where I want you on one of those high wide angles, right? We're going to fight in this space, right? We're going to establish that fight. Here's where we can start rotating to find our place. But yeah, high ground here. This is what I'm talking about, right? So like this fight's happening here, right? So we're kind of in there, right, with Queen, right? So like here's a really strong example of a place where like, see our Ana and Sojourn are playing up here, right? We're kind of playing like this direct support with our Queen, try to hold this space. The reality is I would love for us to be playing like up here even. Like this setup is crazy strong. Queen doesn't really have a hard corner to kind of retreat to, but you can do everything you're doing now from up here and you can turn the face away from Queen. Once we have some positive tempo, it gives us really strong development opportunity to develop over here, right? To play against our team. Our Tracer's already kind of doing that, but like, look how this would be crazy strong. Oh. So it's not always, but the floor is lava. The floor is lava is the rule. Good. Yeah, he's coming for us. I don't know why he's like forcing the challenges here. With no oh, because he's God. Our God Shaggy. It makes sense. Yeah, I would say we just don't need to be taking challenges like that. He had no wheels, so I don't necessarily hate the challenge, but we just can seek not to take them. Again, like our primary concern in situations like that should be really finding the positions we talked about.